Right, welcome everybody to R and R. I guess I should put my video on, huh? We are going to get right into it. So today's practice is we are focusing on the shoulders, upper back really. So this area, a lot of times people are kind of rolled forward and the chest gets tight, but a lot of times people feel discomfort in the trapezius area. So even if you just take a hand, if it's your right hand, and you reach it over to the left and just give a little massage, see how that area feels for you. And then of course, go ahead and move to the other side, give it a little squeeze and see how it feels. All right, roll the shoulders back and down. So that is where we're going to focus in our time together. Depending on what type of ball you have, you could either be on the floor or you could be up against the wall. So let's just start in a seated position. I'm gonna go ahead and move myself back just a little bit. And just come to a comfortable seat, and that might also be in a chair, and that's fine too. So let's come back to just rolling the shoulders. I suppose we didn't do that unless you were in the yoga class. And then go ahead and roll the other way. And then let the shoulders fall away and take your right hand and then cross it over to your left. And we're just gonna do a little bit deeper. So a moment ago, we kind of massaged in this area. And I'm really just looking at kind of squeezing into the trapezius, wherever you can get your fingers, and kind of squeeze and knead that area. You could also, oops, missing my cushion. You could also take your fingers and walk them up towards your neck a little bit. I'll tell you, it feels good. There we go. And so this is where we're going to focus. So feel any tight places. That's where you're going to put the ball. All right, shake that out, and then take the other hand and then just give a little squeeze, a little press in with the fingers. And then also notice as you kind of move along kind of the back of the neck, maybe up by the ear. See if there's anything here and how these two sides might feel a little different. All right, let's bring the hands away and just kind of open the arms a little bit. So I'm reaching my hands back, my palms are turning out to the side. And as I do that, my shoulder blades are moving closer together. So you're just gonna open, think of your sternum right at the center of your chest, reaching forward and slightly upward as I'm drawing my arms back so my shoulder blades come together. So whatever feels good, you don't have to do this extremely. And then bring your hands out in front of you, scoop out the belly, feel your shoulder blades move apart. You can drop the chin too. So let's do that again. Inhale, lengthening, reaching forward. This is our cow pose. And then exhale, rounding cat, if you're familiar with yoga. If not, no worries. So you're just gonna move back and forth a few times, opening up the front of the body, opening up the back of the body. And then the next time you're opening up, go ahead and stay here, bring your hands behind the head, and then draw the elbows back. Think again of the sternum lifting and just opening the heart. So that sternum reaching forward, you're finding that baby back bend, and we're opening across the shoulders, across the chest. Again, this area tends to be tight on the majority of us from rounding forward. Let's take one more breath. Keep the hands there, bring the chin to the chest and let the elbows fall forward. So you're going to feel that stretch now, a little bit more direct in the upper back, maybe coming down along the spine a little. And then let's open, draw elbows back. We're going to do this just a couple of times, and then we're going to get on the ball. Bring chin to the chest. And then lift and open. Chin to chest. And lift and open. All right, take the hands down. So I'm going to show you a couple of options. If your tissue tends to be really tender, my recommendation is to go to the wall. Take it to the wall, and that way it's not quite so direct. If you have two balls like I do, you could also place one at either spot, and then you could come onto the floor. If you don't, which I'm assuming most of you don't, then I like to have my block, excuse me, handy. I have it in one hand, and then I reach across to the opposite side, place the ball, so I'm gonna kind of wiggle it, and then I can kind of rotate my body. So I don't know if you can see me kind of moving from side to side, so then I can really kind of almost like just wiggle from side to side to work it in. What I first like to do before I do that is just lay on it and breathe. The other thing that is nice, if you do have a block, to lift your hips up, it takes some of the pressure out. So you are lifted, and then you can start to work into the shoulder. All right, I'm going to move to the wall, and I'll give you instructions for both, but I'm going to start at the wall. So placing the ball in that trapezius area, that area that we were massaging, walk the feet away and then just kind of lean into it. Take a few breaths here, sink your weight back into the wall, or if you're on the floor, back down into the floor. You could have the block there or not. If you're against the wall, start to just bend your knees and then move maybe up and down a little bit. And then maybe you move a little side to side. So start to explore this area, and we want to do it slowly. We want to move in slowly with a long, steady breath so that the body relaxes, right? So that we open up the blood flow, we start to perfuse the tissue. So as you're working it, you kind of push out hydration. You push out the liquid, right? But as then you come off, then that hydration moves back in so that you are more hydrated. Your tissue becomes more supple. So it is a good idea to drink lots of water. That's a different sort of hydration. But we want to move waste products out as well. So that's what the water can be helpful for. So just moving, and again, I showed you on the floor, you could hold a spot and then you could bring your arms into this against the wall. So you can kind of go side to side. Or I might take that same side arm and just arc my arm up and back down. I might bring my arm forward and pull it back. So you can think of all the different movements across the body that your arm can do. Go behind and then move it to another spot, and then you're pinning it, and then try moving your arm. So that's another way rather than just rolling up and down. Now you might notice, ooh, so as you start to move up a little bit more and get towards where you may have been massaging, so right on top, right? Then maybe that is more tender. And so in order to get to that, you almost have to kind of lean into the wall a little bit. Oh yeah, there's some good stuff. So wherever you're at, take a few breaths. And again, Notice if it's too much. If it's too much where it takes your breath away, it's hard for you to keep that steady, calm breath, then one, it might be too much pressure. And you definitely have to consider the ball that you have. So if you have a ball that doesn't have any yield to it, like a golf ball or a lacrosse ball, you have to just be more mindful, right? Because the ball that I have, they do have yield to them. And so they can go over bony spots, bony prominences. You probably don't want to do that with a golf ball or a lacrosse ball. Okay, so let's take a few more breaths here on the same side. And while you're here, you can always kind of go down to the inside of the shoulder blade, along the spine. See what feels good. Okay, one more breath. And then let's go ahead and come away from the wall. Take a moment, or away from the floor. If you're on the floor, take the ball out and just take a few breaths here. And notice the side that you rolled. How does it compare to the other side? And then when you're ready, go to the second side. And I'm against the wall, so I'm gonna walk my feet out. And I'm gonna kind of lean into it just a little bit. So find a spot and then find a few breaths so that you can start to prepare your tissue for a little more work. And it's not really about pushing into the ball. It's really allowing your weight to kind of just melt into the ball. Using your breath to sink a little deeper, especially on the exhale. And then when it feels appropriate, maybe starting to find a little bit of movement. We could go up and down, we could go side to side. We could focus in the upper back area, kind of that shoulder where we were grabbing and massaging. Or if you feel like you're noticing more stuff happening between your shoulder blades, then maybe you focus there. Or maybe it's a combination of the two. So starting to become aware of your body from side to side. And is there a tendency every time you roll an area, does one side seem more fired up than the other? And what happens as you bring in more rolling sessions? Are you starting to notice a change, or are you starting to have more awareness of your body, of at least spots that maybe want more attention? That's all good things. Okay, so take just a few more breaths here. Again, moving slowly, and you might start to move your arms. So we do those pin and stretch techniques where you're pinning the ball in a spot and then starting to move your arm. And you can explore all the different movements. In some spots, maybe you won't feel a lot of sensation, and then you move slightly to the left or the right, and you notice a big difference. Okay, just a few more breaths here on this side. And then we will come away. If you're on the wall, go ahead and step away from the wall, take the ball out. If you're on the floor, go ahead and take the ball out and just rest wherever you're at. Take a moment to notice both sides, right side, left side. And then come to a seated position for just a moment more. And we'll bring our arms out to the side. Bring your hands behind your head. Draw your elbows back. So you're going to come into that opening through the chest. Just be aware of the space between your shoulder blades and your upper back. And then exhale, draw up the elbows. Let the chin come towards the head or towards the chest. Get my anatomy all mixed up today. And then inhale, let's open. And exhale and release. Just feeling the area that we rolled. And one more time, open. Take the arms out to the side and release. All right, thanks for joining me, you guys. I hope you feel refreshed and ready to take on the rest of your day, whatever you have planned.